Gary.
Hello, is that you, Yvonne?
It is. How are you today?
Could be better, could be worse, couldn't it, obviously?
Yeah. So how have you been finding it being back at home over the last week?
How been what?
How have you been managing at home? Are you enjoying being back?
Well, I should never have been taken away from the home address in the first place and denied a well-paid
I know
job
you feel
prospect.
like that.
My benefits haven't been restored to my bank account to the normal level, so I'm waiting around for that to be corrected.
Right, do you want me to help you with that?
No, because I've already phoned up DWP several days ago and already spoken to the ward clerk. Supposedly the ward clerk can no longer fax the information to DWP and has to post it, and DWP haven't received the details. So DWP have been telephoned with the ward clerk's number, so they were then able to phone the ward clerk, considering they've not received the paper letter.
Right.
Because the DWP doesn't have an internet form system, and whereby the ward clerk can send files.
Right. So everything has to be done by the post now.
Well, the fax machine technology dates back to 1975, and now they're having to send post paper letters from the ward clerk like they were doing in 1516.
Right, I see. They've changed that about then, because I know we're not allowed, they can't send faxes to GPs now, it's all got to be done electronically.
Right, because I know that GPs are video conferencing elderly folks' care homes, and sometimes they're not being provided with the correct medical support for the elderly people inside these places, because I believe that Eileen Chubber's got an issue with the total lack of facilities in these care homes and untrained staff.
Right.
So this care plan review, was it on a piece of paper, the questions?
It is, yeah. Do you want to go through it today? You okay with that?
Well, what do you want me to do? Would you like to send it to my email account and I can fill it in and send it back to you?
I can't send it to your email, but I can post it out to you.
Can you not scan it and send it? Can you not scan it and send it by your email?
Unfortunately, I can't, Gary, but I can certainly print it out and post it to you, because I've got your last one that you melded for you, and it's just really adding anything to it.
What's melded?
Mel, your previous care coordinator, I've got the last one that she did for you, your last care plan.
Well, her name was Melanie Barber, wasn't it? She's still employed at the social services building, and she moved on.
She still works for us, but just the teams all moved about, didn't they? Last year we moved into different teams.
Yeah, but you got two locations. You got Horton House and Outram Road, haven't you? Over in Duckenfield.
That's right. Yeah.
So you're operating. You're operating from one building with about 15-20 cars in the area space, which is the Horton House, and then you're also operating from a location in Duckenfield called Outram Road.
That's right. Yeah, Outram Road had two separate teams now, so the 3 teams. There's 2 at Outram Road and 1 at Horton House.
Right, because you're not, when patients are getting grabbed by police and whatever, and the other people, whatever they may be, the patients are denied hygiene supplies and clothes, so they're getting fast grabbed. See, when Tameside and Glossop Mental Health Forum was around a lot of years ago, a plan of action was called the Wellness Recovery Action Programme, and this was a set of things to do in case a patient got forcibly detained. Now, your staff have never heard, possibly, or the police or whoever, have never heard of the Wellness Recovery Action Programme, have you?
No.
Well, that was established 15 years ago, and should have still that should have still been ongoing for the future.
I can have a look and see if I can find out about it.
Well, it would be a good idea, but it's 15 years out of date, the actual continuation of it, because that existed 10 or 15 years ago, as I've said.
Right.
So what it basically was a somewhat list of things to do when a patient was getting detained, and there was also a Tameside link report. I guess it's on the Vox website now. Let's see if I can find it. That was ideas established a number of years ago that your staff and the police and the psychiatrist have just totally ignored since this report was issued a number of years ago. And this report was issued. It was issued on Christmas time, around December, and the podcast of the report was issued on Vox Tameside in 2013.
Well, actually, I've not heard of it, but I'll certainly look into it, see if I can find it and have a read.
It's been on the internet as a podcast for over 7 years, and been on the internet as a document since 2012. That's like 8 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah. But do you want me to print out what we've got as a care plan and send it to you, and you can add anything you want to it?
Well, there was one somewhat not accurately completed on the ward, because I've not been given a proper genuine medical checkup, and I'm told that with the research, these different varieties of injection and tablet drugs have been damaging to my health in various ways. And the other issue, a more severe drug that I was demanded to be put onto was clozapine or clozaril, and that's been known to kill patients off in a short space of time afterwards with increasing damage. You're not on that medication, so are you? Why do you feel about being on the medication you are on? How are you feeling about that? I think it's against the law and forced medication in other countries. Where is it? It's been ruled by their courts as being illegal. Are you? Because your injections drew. Sorry, Gary, on you go. See, in the country of Norway, it says here, forced drugging with antipsychotics is against the law. Decision in Norway on the website madinamerica.com. Right. But it's not illegal in this country. I know, because we're backward and illegal, aren't we, obviously? Okay, but you are due your injection on the 13th of August, so I'm going to send you out a letter. I've typed it, I just need to get it printed, and it's inviting you to come to Halton House to the dental clinic to have that. What I'm saying is, what's the time of that on the 13th of August? It's till 11:30 your time is. That's going to be 11:30, because you don't work till 11 o'clock at night, do you? It is 11:30 a.m. So what is the idea in like? See, I'm told by the last doctor, Dr. Hudder, he believes that I'm being psychotic, that I'm making stuff up, that I'm not exactly telling the truth on various issues that I'm speaking about, and therefore that's his decision to demand I have the injection of Abilify alipiprazole, and yet the issues are that what he's actually said is completely inaccurate, and I don't specifically need the injection. No, but it is part of your CTO that you come and get that injection. So I just have to tell you that that's your appointment time, and it would be good if you did come to it. But you have your appointment with Dr. Malik, who's taken over from Dr. Huda. It's the following week, and you can discuss your medication with him. Yeah, because he may decide to put a stop to the clozapine Abilify chemical needle. He may decide to put a stop to it simply because a previous psychiatrist has got his facts wrong. Right, but that's something you can discuss with Dr. Malik when you've got your appointment with him. And also a ridiculous disgraces being trapped in the system for up to 25, 30 odd years or so for no justified reason. And what you've done as well, you've also incarcerated and detained former members of Tameside and Glossop Mental Health Forum, including David Bell and Matthew Fogg on Saxon Ward, for no justified reason.
Right, but Gary, I can't comment on any other patients. You know, I've been asked to work with you, and I'll do my best to work around what you want. But part of your treatment plan is to have your injection. So, but I said, I can invite you to Depot Clinic, and I'll get that letter in the post to you this week, okay?
But the injection is said to be toxically damaging, and you, the police and the psychiatrist and the ward staff, are complicit in damaging patients' health.
As I say, there isn't any concerns around the medication in this country, and I've known people on it that have worked, that's done really well with them, and there's been no concern.
You can't quote any names or facts. I'm giving you 3 names of people you've trapped in the system unnecessarily, and you've assaulted. You particularly haven't assaulted those patients. The staff at Saxon Ward have assaulted those patients, and some of your staff over at Horton House and Outram Road are also needle injecting patients with toxic drugs that are going to damage their health.
Gary, I know you've got a lot of concerns about your medication, and your doctor, Dr. Malik, will answer any concerns that you have.
Yeah, but the issue is you've broken the law in assaulting or using threats against the patient and damaging the patient and slowly killing the patient, so the patients won't live a ripe old age. Because the patients are statistically controlled by psychiatry are dying sooner than other people that don't have any control of psychiatrists.
I think, Gary, I know you've got your own views on it, and I'll possibly have different views from you, but at the moment, anything you want to discuss about your injection needs to be done with a doctor. I can only answer so many questions, but I can't make comment on any other people.
No, because your location, your staff are sticking a needle into patients at Horton House. You're also keeping records on patients and whereby their lives are degraded to enormous tragedy. You've got people on the streets now destitute because the home property has been taken off them, the home addresses have been taken off them, and they're now living on the streets destitute with some of your toxic drugs in their bodies.
Gary, we need to look at your care, okay?
Well, you're not providing it. You are not providing any care whatsoever. All you're doing. Well, I want you to follow public opinion. All you're doing is just degrading lives in a eugenics environment, in a eugenics situation, up until the patient, the property, the life of the patient doesn't exist anymore. You're nothing more than eugenics murderers.
Gary, if we're going to have this discussion, I'm going to end the call, but I can, if you want, discuss your care plan and discuss that with you if you're willing to discuss it with me.
But you're not providing any care. You can't even turn up after so many weeks to take the patient home to bring in hygiene or clothing supplies. You've got another patient called Peter saying after 3 or 4 weeks he's walking around in stinking clothing, all because he's been fast grabbed at his home address, and my mother ends up bringing a t-shirt in for him afterwards.
I know you're maybe frustrated with other things, but due to COVID, we were very restricted on things that we could do this last 5-6 months. We've had a lot of restrictions, and at some point we weren't allowed to go to patients' houses, and we weren't allowed on the ward.
Well, you have been on the ward. You have been on the ward, and you can do things via video conferencing, or you can post things to people. You could speak to I can speak to any patient now, say measure yourself with a tape measure, and I will send you some clown town clothing for Tameside, which is what the area seems to be, like a clown town, a brutal, lazy, degrading clown town, because the life of my grandparents in New Mills was nowhere whatsoever like it is in Tameside. And I can type up a report now and explain how they lived in New Mills that wasn't in any way like Shameside, Tameside.
Okay, Gary, do you want to discuss your care plan or not today? What do you want to do?
Well, do you want to describe the care plan to me, please?
Yeah, do you want me to read out what was on your previous one?
If you could do so,
and then we'll work from that.
If you could read it out, please.
Yeah, of course I can. Give me a second, I'm just loading it up onto my screen, okay? So this is what Melanie had written before, that obviously you've got a diagnosis of schizoaffective disorder.
Yeah, but that is a psychiatric label, not based on any genuine medical test. That is a label given in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual.
Okay, got it. I can put on it that you don't agree with that diagnosis.
It's not based on any genuine medical examination. It's not like a proper GP doctor examining the patient. The actual label is like a black triangle given to somebody during the Nazi regime. These labels are offensive labels that aren't based on any genuine medical test.
Okay, got it. I can just read out what's been written by the doctors, okay? I can put down that you don't agree with it.
Yeah, put down that I don't agree with it, in the same way people were putting down they don't agree with having a black triangle or a red triangle stuck on the clothing. They don't agree with it.
Okay, got it. It says on your care plan that you have some autistic traits around your communication, interpersonal skills and fixed beliefs, but this has not been formally diagnosed because you won't consent to get the diagnosis done.
Well, I don't need to have an autism or Asperger's, are basically another form or label. I'm actually, the first and foremost, I'm a human being that needs to be looked after and treated responsibly like a human being. I don't believe in any labels.
Okay, got it, but I'll put your views down on your care plan, okay? Is that okay? Okay. What's been written down is over the past 5 years your admissions to hospital have been increasing and the frequency in between your admissions have shortened, and when you've been admitted it's been under the Mental Health Act and it's involved the police, and you found these events distressing and quite traumatic.
Well, yeah, I mean, basically having the door belted in at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then having the police turning up whilst I'm sleeping, stepping into the bedroom with the body cams switched on, having the door smacked in at 2 o'clock in the morning with the police laughing at the end of the conversation, saying we've come to do a welfare check on you. And I'm saying the only people doing the welfare check are going to be my trusted relatives. You can't be trusted as police to do a welfare check. And then the door was damaged at 1-2 in the morning, with the landlord failing to send anybody out for 5 or 6 hours on that particular night, having no sleep, and then going to the 136 detainment room and loads of different police sat in front of me playing the police radios and then talking amongst each other. That's a human rights violation.
Okay, so I'll put your views down on this, okay? Okay.
What you could do with doing it is tracing back with education and research and seeing how my grandparents lived after 1948 in the peaceful, unbrutal, kind and civilised town of New Mills, and trying in some way compare it to the horrendous lives of the people in Tameside at the moment.
Okay. The next bit in your care plan was that the plan was you to be referred to supported accommodation, but you refused to give consent for that. You remember that you didn't want to go there, so we weren't able to do the referral, but that's what was planned.
But that'll mean all my property being taken off me and not being given a single penny in compensation, and I don't need to be re-detained.
Okay, that's okay. I see your views I'll put on your care plan. We've obviously discussed your medication. I just have to write what you are prescribed.
And the name,
So
the name of the needle is Abilify or halopiprazole.
Yeah, halopiprazole, yeah. That's down on your care plan. And obviously I've written that you've been invited to the depot clinic every 4 weeks to have that. The next bit is about your daily living skills. So what Melanie has written was that in the past you've become overwhelmed with tasks around budgeting and your bills, and a lot of that's because you've been in hospital and out of hospital, and getting your benefits sorted out can be quite difficult at times.
No, the issues are that when somebody gets detained after so many weeks for whatever weird and difficult reason, the DWP reduces the benefits going to the bank account, even though the patient is then struggling to look after two locations, being the mental ward and being the home address. And then the other issue, patients have been reported that whilst they've been detained to Saxon Ward, I spoke to a patient 2 weeks ago. He said his home address was broken into and his home was trashed, and he had to try and tidy up the mess, and when he got back to the ward slightly late, they stopped his leave afterwards. But the other issue then is the police and social worker and the ward staff knew exactly where he was and realised that his home address was empty.
Okay. I'll put your views down on it, and obviously you can add any more to it when I send it out to you. Typing this in. Okay, I wrote that a lot of the time you have bought gifts for other people, and that's caused you not to have money to pay your bills, is that right?
No, it isn't, because I gave a carton of shower gel to Matthew Fogg because he had nothing to wash himself with, because his parents didn't bring him in any hygiene or clothing supplies. And I passed a 20 quid Bluetooth speaker to another patient who offered me his internet pad, which I didn't need it. and the other issue then is, the issue lies in the benefits being reduced, and I was also able to pay my gas, electric and water whilst my benefits were reduced from my mobile phone app, which luckily my mobile phone wasn't confiscated.
The next bit on your care plan is that your accommodation that you live in is general needs, and your landlords feel that you're not suitable for general needs home, and they feel that you would benefit from having a property with your own front door. Obviously, I know you'll disagree with that.
But the landlord have agreed to carry out some repairs, and Acorn Tenants Union, I'm actually a member of it. My membership fee went out today for Acorn Tenants Union because I checked the internet website from the bank.
Right.
I'm in the process of giving a list to Acorn Tenants Union to approach the landlord to ask him to complete some repairs, and the repair being that the neighbour's starting to drip water through the ceiling for whatever reason, yet they sent somebody out a few days ago, the landlord housing, and the repair's not 100%. Because what they tend to do is when they send somebody out to do a repair at the home address, it's not in any way 100% repair, and therefore the same repair has to keep being re-repaired quite a few times afterwards, because perhaps the staff don't know what they're doing. But my support is now from Acorn Tenants Union to get some of the repairs completed at this home address, and I've spent quite a lot of money, and the shower installation and the fixtures was paid for by my granny a number of years ago, and my granny's not alive anymore, and the roof aerials, etc., what's on top of the roof, I paid for that a number of years ago. But the landlord need to try and tidy up the what they call the communal area spaces, and to try and get that brought back into pristine condition, and also do a few repairs here, please, at least.
Well, that's good that you've got the union, tenants union, to help you with that. But you know that I can also help you with anything if you need help around anything around your housing.
No, because I'm actually a paid-up member of Acorn Tenants Union.
That's fine.
Anything to do with tenancy, they will look after my situation and try and get the home address a credit, not only to Acorn Tenants Union, but a credit to the housing association as well.
Right. I just need to tell you that I can't help with anything. It's up to you who you choose. Okay. The next bit's around your physical health. Obviously, you can see your GP if you need to. Anything around your physical health, okay? And the next bit is that was about support accommodation. I've already discussed that. Right. Your housing benefits suspended at the moment. Is that because of the changes in your benefits with you being in hospital?
I've no idea. I can't understand why there's 5 spaces on the housing statement of no money paid for by the council. I'm trying to say something now. I've yet to get clarification off Tameside Council to find out why it seems the 3 space intervals of the housing benefit haven't been paid to the landlord. I'm going to try and find out this week the reason why this is.
Right. If you need any help around that, again, I can help you with that. Okay.
Well, you don't need to do so.
It may be
because my tenancy rights are being looked after by Acorn Tenants Union. So, with regards to repairs at the home address or housing benefit, I can approach, like I said, Acorn Tenants Union.
Yeah, that's fine.
They will represent my issues.
Yeah, that's fine. I've just got to tell you that we can't help. If you've got them helping, that's brilliant. Okay. Okay, it says obviously you've got no substance misuse issues, so there's nothing to write about in there. And it's just that you've got a lot of interest, and it's around online forums, computers and technology. And obviously if you want to look at other interests, once things are back open again, we can support you in looking at things in the community.
You don't need to do that. I mean, you've not provided any finance. You provided social services when Tameside and Glossop Mental Health Forum was around, and you may have had those managers maybe still there at social services. You kindly provided as social services about 15-20 years ago money to Tameside and Glossop Mental Health Forum to buy karaoke systems. And when I used to speak to Bernard Comboy at the Advocacy Project, I wrote up a list of things to get for the karaoke systems, which was paid for by social services. But the issues were it was brand new technology that was in the sale, and that had a discount voucher to go with it as well. And that lasted for some time afterwards. And I was told by Peter Bennett, who used to serve on the hospital board committee a number of years ago, that was given to other good causes afterwards. So what they would have been at West Villa before it was sold on by the council, they would have been in the cellar at least. Quite a lot of sophisticated karaoke systems and large amplifiers and large speakers and a wheelie trolley box with radio mics in badges that have LED messaging and message boards and LED message boards and patch cables and a file with instructions and a carousel storage box of compact discs, CDG discs for karaoke. So that quite vast list of things would have been at West Villa those years ago, and most of that was paid for by social services money.
Okay. So that's really your care plan. There's a bit for you to fill in about what's important to you, things that you want to change, but I'll leave you to fill that in. Is that okay?
So that when you send the paperwork out, that'll be with the paperwork of what I can write on it?
Yeah, that's what I'll do. And you can write, if you're a care plan, you can write what you want on it.
But in some way, it's not been genuine care over those years. You've totally brutalised and degraded my life in various ways and not apologised in any way whatsoever, and caused me to have lost chances. And I've not had a foreign holiday now for 25, 30 years, simply because I've not been able to afford it, and you've taken away my passport. and also...
Who's taken away your passport? Who took away your passport, Gary?
The previous psychiatrist secretary, she wanted my passport, which would have cost me like now...
Right, because I've not heard of that happen before. That's new to me, that mental health services would take someone's passport.
Well, Dr. Agnew took away my driving licence 20 or 30 years ago.
I know sometimes driving licence would need to be reviewed, but I've not heard of a passport being taken off someone before.
You just like taking things away, like the property, the luxury property in the lounge that got scammed by self-storage Tameside, all because Pennine Care wouldn't keep up the payments of the items in storage. You've allowed things to be taken away from me for no justified reason.
It could be that these things have happened in the past, and I'm not 100% sure because I haven't worked with you in the past. But if there's anything you want me to look at and find out what happened, I'll certainly do that.
Well, there's no point in...
If you want to write down things, and I'll look into it for you.
Well, it's supposedly against the international human rights laws of 35 laws that you've never even read yet, I guess.
No, I haven't, no. If you want me to, I will.
It's not difficult. It's been in existence, the international human rights laws, since after the Second World War, since after the Nuremberg trials.
Right. It's not something I've ever had to look at before, but if you want to write down where to access it and what bits you want me to read, I'll certainly read it.
But you're complicit in degrading patients' lives and taking things away from patients, the psychiatrist and your social workers and the methods, and yet you're not apologising and you're not giving a penny.
Right.
You're not giving it a penny in compensation.
Right. But Gary, I need you to write down what's been taken away from you and when, and I will certainly look in if I can find out why.
Well, it starts off with my freedom, the toxic, brutal damage of my health, followed by my driving licence a lot of years ago. That cost me a driving test fee and driving lessons. What's the point in going for a driving test and paying for driving lessons if the dodgy psychiatrist takes away my driving licence and then try and say something and then causes me to have car accidents whereby when I was with my sister and she was holding a Panasonic M7 video camera a lot of years ago from Bridgemont to New Mills, my driving technique was without fault, and yet you're...
I don't know what happened back then because as I say, I wasn't involved, but if you do want me to look into it, if I can find answers for you, I will.
Your staff members have never ever apologised or given a penny in compensation for vulture methods in taking things away from me over the past 30 or 40 years. And the other issue is I've got qualifications in computers, right, and yet I can't be given a job if I'm detained. And the police around at my home address, if the police force the door and break the door down and I'm detained, if I have a well-paid computer job, it means that I'll either get demoted or terminated from employment. Because then I can't do the job if I'm being detained to a mental ward, can I?
You can't. But a lot of people that do go into hospital do manage to hold on to jobs.
No, because when I got detained a number of years ago, and I did it a more cleaner, more basic job and got really well paid for doing it, I got demoted from that job with less money. I lost about £300 or £400 a week on a normal wage. My wage went from like at a limit £700 a week in my hand take home to then on a basic week about £350 a week in my hand take home. When I went back to the job after being detained, my wages went down to about £130, £140 a week.
I'm sorry to hear that, Gary. I really am.
Yeah, the thing is, you've got these vulture methods of whereby you completely love taking things away from people and really messing up people's lives, and that certainly isn't a care plan review.
Well, you can write what you want in your care plan, and we can discuss it again once you've written down what you want on it. Is that okay?
And the issue is, you can get away with these things, and you're not prepared to apologise or give it a penny in compensation afterwards.
Okay, Carrie, I know you've got different views, but if you write down your care plan,
not different
and then
views, they're very much accurate views that are just total degradation.
Right, Gary, do you want me to call you again next week?
What for?
George, to discuss your care plan when I get it posted out to you.
Well,
or you can leave it a few weeks if you want to wait a few weeks.
Well, if you post it out today, I should get it in about 3 days at the limit, shouldn't I?
It'll probably be tomorrow it gets posted out. You should have it by Thursday. I'll put first class on it.
Can you send it by sign for first class post?
I can send it first class. I don't think they can send it signed for, but I'll ask our admin team if they can.
Yeah, and I can read it and post it back.
Yeah, that's okay to do that. Will I leave it and you give me a call in a few weeks once it's done, and then we can look and discuss it further?
Yeah, but why do we need to discuss it any more further than what they already have done when I've described some human rights violations and total degradation?
Because I might have questions for you after what you've written down.
But it's not you that should be answering it's not me that should be answering the questions. It's your methods and your staffing that are controlling people's lives and messing it all up.
Right, Gary, your care plan is your care plan, and there's sections in it that you can put your views on it.
But it's not a care plan.
And that's what I want you to do.
It's a decimation, degradation plan, because I've explained how you've managed to get away with degrading my life, and you've also degraded the lives of other patients as well.
Right, Gary, I'm going to end the call for today because we're getting way off track. I will give you a call next week, next Monday morning again, if that's okay.
And the problem is, you're not giving any apologies or any compensation after what has been 20-30 years of vulture methods taking things away, and not only my life getting worse, but also other people I've been speaking to, their lives getting worse. And the culmination is...
you know that you can if you're not happy with anything, you can contact PALS. They can support you in anything that you want.
They don't support anybody in any way. They're sly, and they don't pursue any... In fact, people can't even now complain to the Parliamentary Health Service Ombudsman.
Right, got it. I'm going to end the call now, but I will call you next Monday at 9:45. Okay? And if it's just you don't want to talk about your care plan, it's just for me to find out how you are. If there's anything we can do to help you.
Well, you're not exactly helping me. All you're doing is making things worse.
Okay, but if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But I have a duty of care to phone you.
It's the facts.
If you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer.
Factual degradation of human beings' lives.
Got it. I'm going to end the call now, okay? I'll speak to you next week. But if you need anything before then, just give us a call at Houghton House.
What I do need is try and do some research on how my grandparents lived after fighting the Nazis after 1948, and see how exactly they lived. They didn't live off benefits. They had companies established in the area that gave them long-term, wealthy, decent, stable job prospects. And they weren't getting controlled by psychiatry. I'm not getting worked up. I'm not raising my voice either.
I'm going to end the call now because we're way off track, but I will phone you next week.
And you need to stop vulture methods of degrading people's lives, and at least apologise and at least give some compensation.
I'm ending the call now, okay? I'll speak to you later.